you see where Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy?
Surprised me, I actually met Beyonce before. That was one of the people be like, who you met? You know what I'm saying? That like it threw you out, like it took you back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020.
I said, well, he busy right now. He said, he busy doing what? I said, he with Puff, they're in the room, they busy, they don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. He was like, yo, I don't care, man, I'm going in there. That bull like that. I said, yo, bruh, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me, I grabbed him and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they
Diddy engaged for 10 years or so in a kind of criminal enterprise, running a criminal enterprise where he would get these women to allegedly get involved in these so-called freak-offs against their will. The other counts are less serious. That racketeering count carries with it life imprisonment, but these other counts are about maximum 15 years, including trafficking and engaging transportation to use in prostitution.
The hip-hop world is no stranger to controversy, but few names spark as much debate as Sean Diddy Combs. Once celebrated for his success in music, fashion, and business, Diddy is now at the center of disturbing allegations that continue to shake Hollywood. Over the years, his parties were seen as legendary, drawing the biggest stars from music, film, fashion, and politics. But behind the glitz and glamour, troubling stories have surfaced about what really went on behind closed doors. And now, DaBaby has reportedly dropped a shocking list of celebrities connected to these parties, adding more fuel to the fire. Today, we're diving deep into what this means, who was involved, and how the entire culture of these parties is being re-examined in light of the legal battles surrounding Diddy. For decades, Diddy's events were seen as the ultimate place to be. His white parties in the Hamptons became cultural touchstones, where A-list stars mingled in front of cameras, while the media celebrated the spectacle. Music legends like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, Justin Bieber, and Kanye West were spotted at different times. Actors such as Leonardo, DiCaprio, Demi Moore, and Ashton Kutcher were photographed smiling on the guest list. Even socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashian sisters made appearances. On the surface, it seemed like harmless fun, a gathering of icons who wanted to celebrate life. But when we pull back the curtain, those same parties now raise deeper questions. Were they just social events? Or were they carefully designed environments where power and control were quietly at play? The contrast between the glamorous photos and the disturbing allegations shows just how carefully crafted appearances can be.
When you was around Diddy, did you ever see him put his hands on Jennifer Lopez?
Well, he didn't do any violence to Mrs. J-Lo. That's why I didn't see any violence. It's a different breed, bruh. He wasn't gonna risk himself like that. And plus, a lot of people didn't like him. J-Lo mother didn't like him. Benny Medina didn't like him. You understand? So now, the first thing, if he would have ever touched Miss Lopez in any kind of aggressive way, she would have said something, man, listen to me. The whole Bronx would have been on Puff. He didn't treat her like that, bro. He didn't do none of that old crazy stuff, that play fight, that beating them with pillows and all that other shit like that, smothering them and, you know, doing that childish shit. He didn't do that. I never seen him do that with Ms. Lopez at all. So it's a different class. You know, he knew that she was an actress, she was a singer, songwriter, whatever like that, all her accolades. He did put her on a pedestal, but he still was seeing Kim, but he put her on a pedestal. So I don't think that she had those experiences. And then, you know, people only do what you let them do. If he would have did that to her, he would only had one time. You see, when he ran out the club and left her after that shooting at China, she ain't want to be with them. no more. Yo, he left her. You know what I mean? So he wasn't gonna treat her like, he was treating the rest of them.
Tell me the story about how Puffy wanted to fight Will Smith over Jennifer Lopez.
Oh man. We were at a birthday party that I think either Matt Damon was giving for Ben Affleck. It was just a little gathering. It was at the Four Seasons. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada, and they were sitting on the other side of the room. So I know Puff so well that he stood up. When he stood up, he walked and did his arm some kind of way, like, and then he went like this, like, and I went over towards him. I know to go over there towards him. So I go over towards him, and he said to me, he said, yo, I think Will and Jada is trying to scoop up Jennifer. I want you to stay close, because I'm going to snuff him. I said to myself, Will Smith gonna beat the shit out. Now, Puff could scrap now, but I don't think he could beat Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? But he could scrap. You know what I'm saying? So then he said that shit. So I didn't go back over there where Will Smith's sister and her husband was. I stayed about, if he snuffed Will, I could move slow enough that Will could probably get 2 or 3 punches back in. Yeah, but that's funny. He thought that Jada and Will was coming on too strong to Jennifer, making advances.
Looking back, it is clear that these parties were more than just celebrations. They were stages where influence was displayed, where networking and alliances were formed under a glamorous backdrop. For many celebrities, being at a Diddy party was almost a rite of passage into the upper tier of entertainment culture. Yet, as stories continue to surface, what was once viewed as a career highlight now feels more like a haunting association that no one wants to admit to openly. The latest twist came when rapper DaBaby allegedly dropped a list of names tied to Diddy's infamous parties. The revelation sparked debates because it wasn't just about attendance. It hinted that certain celebrities may have been caught up in something far darker than casual partying. While DaBaby didn't go into explicit detail, the fact that he would even bring up such a list has raised eyebrows. Was he warning people? Was he distancing himself from Diddy's circle? Or was it simply an attempt to stir attention in a moment when Diddy is already under intense scrutiny? Regardless of the motive, DaBaby's words have forced the public to reconsider which celebrities may have seen, heard, or even experienced what really went on at these events. In an industry where silence often protects reputations, DaBaby's decision to speak up could carry consequences that stretch far beyond headlines.
There is one term that has gone viral since the indictment of Sean Diddy Combs, more than anything else. You've heard it here on Sidebar, you've heard it amplified in the media. It is called a freak-off. This alleged performance that is at the center of this criminal case facing the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs. And I'm going to go over some of the details of these freak-off sessions as laid out in the government's indictment and in their subsequent letters that they filed with the court when they argued against Combs' bail, which, by the way, was denied twice. Now, he's currently locked up in the Brooklyn Detention Center. Combs is facing charges of racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage in. We've mentioned it before, but he could be looking at 15 years to life in prison. That's how serious these charges are. But the main theme here, the main allegation, is that Combs led a criminal enterprise. And the goal of this criminal enterprise, other than to operate a global media and entertainment business, was to engage in the of women, trafficking, forced labor, the distribution of drugs, to use violence and threats, to commit crimes like kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, to carry out their goals, their missions, all the while making sure to satisfy the desires of Sean Combs. And one of those desires, as alleged by the government, by prosecutors, and also alleged by several Combs accusers in separate civil lawsuits that they filed against him, were the commission of freak-offs. So with that in mind, now we're going to get into these shocking details surrounding these freak-offs. And I guess we should start with saying, what are freak-offs, right? Well, let's go to the indictment. It says, quote, Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended acts with male commercial workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, pleasured himself during, and often electronically recorded. Now, while this indictment came down, I said at the time, this may be a term that is foreign to any person that was not familiar with Sean Combs, but for me, who's been following this whole saga for, what, a year now? I have heard this term multiple times, because in the Cassandra Ventura lawsuit, Combs' ex-girlfriend, and Rodney Little Rod Jones lawsuit, this is Combs' former producer, they discussed the freak-offs in their lawsuits. Now, Ventura alleged, among other things, that Combs would demand her participation in freak-offs and that she would have to be forced to hire the male workers, and that this could happen at any random moment.
What makes this claim even more intriguing is DaBaby's reputation for boldness. He has never been the type to shy away from controversy, and in this moment, his statement adds weight to the growing sense of unease surrounding Diddy. By publicly alluding to a list, DaBaby has positioned himself as someone unafraid to hint at the truth, and that alone keeps fans, critics, and the media glued to his every word, waiting for more details.
I will tell you, though, that the idea of this freak-off, now that it is officially part of the criminal case, now that it's mentioned multiple times, this makes me wonder two things from a legal point of view. Number one, it is such a wild concept and a phraseology that it's hard to believe that this is something that was just made up by Combs' accusers. And when I say Combs' accusers, could that be Ventura? Yes. Could that be Jones? Yes. Perhaps the government got this information, this idea of the freak-offs originally from them. And by the way, when I say Combs' accusers, could be Ventura, could be Jones. Perhaps the government got this idea of the freak-offs from them originally, but we don't know. To be clear, we do not know for sure. We do not know who the accusers are, the victims are in this criminal case, who the government's witnesses are, whoever those people may be, because we don't know for sure who is cooperating with the government right now. But the bottom line is the idea of the freak-off, there's enough there to substantiate it that the government is moving forward with this. And again, it is so wild. It's such a wild concept to come up with that I wonder if an argument will be made that, look, jury, this has to be true. No one can honestly make something like this up. And as you'll see, it doesn't appear it was just witness testimony that corroborates the idea of the freak-offs happening, the existence of these freak-offs, but there's more, and I'll get to that. But this also leads me to a secondary point, that based upon what we are already seeing from Combs' defense counsel during bail arguments, they may not deny that these freak-offs happened, or even that Combs called them freak-offs. They may say, yeah, you know what, he engaged in freak-offs, that's what he called them, but they were consensual. That's the idea, they were consensual, this is not a crime.
Diddy has said this, he said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. that people have to take IVs. Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy freak off party. And I'm gonna say alleged.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party and she party with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige, or they emulated her. The blonde hair, the nails, the high boots, the age-appropriate, inappropriate clothing that I want to say, because I know people gonna drag me through it. I'm like, what you mean? She's 70, 80 years old. She don't have to wear no, she can wear hot pants if she want to. Okay, all right. You can't make nothing dust moist.
Was she a freak?
I don't want to speak about that man mama like that, bruh. Was his mama a freak? I don't know that about her. But if she was that Diddy freak off at 70 years old, she was just like the rest of them. The freaks come out at night. I don't know that about his mother, man. I know she used to date young guys, but that don't make her a freak. They call her a cougar.
Court documents and testimonies describe events at these gatherings that go far beyond what the public imagined. According to allegations, these were not ordinary parties, but carefully orchestrated freak-offs, multi-day events involving drugs, escorts, and coercive behavior. Witnesses claim some participants were pressured, manipulated, or even drugged. The details are chilling, with accusations of cameras being hidden, recording everything for potential blackmail. Prosecutors even revealed that during raids, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil were seized, items allegedly tied to these gatherings. If these claims are true, it paints a picture not of free-spirited celebrity fun, but of a controlled environment where power was weaponized against the vulnerable. It is here that the line between glamour and exploitation becomes blurred, raising the question of how many in attendance knew the full truth of what was happening around them. The testimonies also suggest that these parties were built around secrecy, with strict rules about loyalty and discretion. Those who tried to speak out were allegedly silenced or pressured to keep quiet, further deepening the mystery around what actually went on. When we think about the number of powerful people in attendance, it becomes even harder to believe that no one noticed the darker side of these events. This raises questions about complicity and how far the protection of reputations can go.
Now, there's a viral video going around where Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre are sitting there, and they were on TRL, and Dr. Dre's like, hey,
I don't know why ain't nobody talking about when Carson Daly went to them Diddy parties. Because Carson Daly did go to them Diddy parties.
Ooh.
No different than Ashton Kutcher.
Damn. Okay.
No different than Hype Williams. Why don't nobody want to talk about Hype Williams? Usually if I send a shout out at somebody, people start really kicking things up. But it's almost as if Hype is like living under some wheat germ grass or some under Russell Simmons' ass in Bali. Why can't, is it time to put Hype Williams on the milk cart?
Melissa Ford just did an interview talking about how Hype Williams brought her out. Now, mind you, she's a video vixen, and it seems like the girls that used to be part of the music videos have stories to tell.
They should.
And
They're all workers. And if they weren't, they felt like it when they went home. I don't think you'll ever hear about a woman saying that she was. His thing was turning straight men gay. That was his thing. Where's Hype? What's his last film project?
Really?
Yeah, DMX was a star in that.
Facts. Facts. Jad, my question to you is, and again, we're just talking the psychology of a man.
What if the entertainment industry is nothing but a cover for a worldwide ring?
For the celebrities whose names have been linked to these parties, the implications are enormous. Some stars like Jennifer Lopez and Usher have distanced themselves from Diddy in recent years, while others have remained silent. But silence does not protect them from public speculation. The challenge here is that being present at a party does not mean direct involvement in alleged misconduct. Yet once a name is tied to such events, reputational damage can follow. This is where DaBaby's list becomes especially controversial. It fuels suspicion and debate about figures who may have been nothing more than guests. Still, the pressure on these stars to clarify their stance is growing, especially as more details of the investigation reach the public. For those who built careers on carefully managed images, even the hint of association with Diddy's alleged crimes could be career-threatening.
Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Let's go. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Hey, hey, hey.
I don't make up things. When I say Puff go in the room with two girls, you understand, and another guy, and a rapper, and then all of a sudden, they cousin try to go in the room, I throw them up against the piano, they run out the room with grabbing towels and they still had two girls in the room. But people want to make up a lot of bullshit and say what they want to say and flip it the way they want to flip it. I tell it like it is. But you got these guys, you got these people out here, man, you know what I'm saying? You know, all this is for entertainment, man. Some people want the truth, some people speak the truth. Some people don't even know the truth, it'll smack them dead in the face, bro. But I tell you one thing, it's from my mouth to God's ear. And all these clowns can say whatever they want to say. Like I'm just saying, he lived a rock and roll lifestyle when I was with him, bro. I don't know about his addiction and stuff like that. You know, he was a totally different person, bro. When I try to tell people that, they don't understand that. He was probably doing some of the little snake, doing some things and stuff like that, you know, but the magnitude and what he was doing with the freak off parties and all like that, yo, I didn't experience that with him. That was not my experience with Diddy or Puffy or Puff Daddy. That wasn't my experience with him.
And you had no idea who Usher was when you heard about him?
I didn't know who Usher was at the time. It's all gonna come out some kind of way, bro.
This fallout also highlights the risks of proximity in Hollywood. Being photographed in the wrong room or connected to the wrong person can change how an audience views an entire career. For some, the association may be minor, but for others, it could bring permanent scrutiny. As the investigation into Diddy deepens, the industry is watching closely to see who will step forward to defend their name and who will remain silent, hoping the storm passes without lasting damage. The storm surrounding Diddy isn't only about rumors, it is rooted in legal proceedings that have already changed his life forever. The first major blow came in November 2023, when Cassie Ventura, his longtime partner, filed a lawsuit accusing him of trafficking and coercion. That lawsuit was settled quickly, but it opened the door for more accusers to step forward. By 2024, the federal government had taken notice, leading to a grand jury indictment. Prosecutors accused Diddy of racketeering, trafficking, and transporting individuals for illegal activities. The trial in 2025 revealed layers of evidence, from financial records to videotapes. And while Diddy was acquitted of the most severe trafficking charges, he was still convicted of transporting individuals for a serious federal crime. This guilty verdict means the world's view of Diddy has changed forever, from cultural icon to convicted criminal. The conviction also shows the strength of the evidence presented. It is not easy for a jury to find a figure of such influence guilty, but the facts were overwhelming enough to secure a verdict. Even though Diddy escaped the harshest penalties, the stain of criminal guilt cannot be washed away. His empire, built over decades, is now crumbling piece by piece as business partners and former allies quickly move to sever ties.
The trafficker. P. Diddy gets around to kids. let's say that round of kids had Justin Bieber in it. There's contracts, okay? There's contracts for codes within that person. So they can take a remote and turn that person off. Britney Spears, when they want to. Lindsay Lohan, when they want to. Amanda Bynes, when they want to, okay? So let's say there's a contract for Justin Bieber. When P. Diddy has a hold of Justin Bieber, he now owns half of those codes. If Usher had the same contract and trafficked Bieber out to P. Diddy, okay, Usher and P. Diddy now have parts of Justin Bieber's contract. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if one goes down, the other side of the code has to go down. If there's a property linked to that person, Kevin Hart, because they had something to do with the trafficking of Bieber, then their property will go down because there's a code to that property. There's a code to everything. Your social security number is like a code. Okay? But depending on the level of MK Ultra, people have auctions for the codes on that person. So they can use a remote to them like a TV and shut them down, turn it up, use somebody else, change it whenever they feel like it. Bookmark it. Trust me. Trust me, bookmark it. Okay? I know it's probably not gonna make sense right now, but bookmark it.
MK Ultra is used, but to get MK Ultra to take hold the way it needs to be, it has to involve satanic ritual.
One of the most disturbing aspects of this entire case is how long it went unchecked. For decades, Diddy was untouchable, surrounded by wealth, lawyers, and influence. In Hollywood and the music industry, power often shields wrongdoing until the evidence becomes overwhelming. Many celebrities who may have known something chose silence, whether out of fear, loyalty, or self-preservation. This culture of silence is not unique to Diddy. It reflects a larger pattern in entertainment where those at the top often operate without accountability. DaBaby's decision to speak out, even indirectly, disrupts that culture, but it also places him in a dangerous position because history shows that whistleblowers in this industry often face retaliation. The fact that it takes such a massive federal case to break through the silence shows just how deeply entrenched these systems of protection are.
Somebody was just telling a story the other day, said they went to a Diddy party and they ended up getting drugged, and when they woke up, they seen him, he was going in on somebody else, and they was like, oh my God, what are you doing? He was like, this was you last night.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
Who's
So, yeah, let me ask you a question. This is just for
you
the
just running around drugging people, socking them in a jail and popping them in. Like, what is going
Damn, combo breaker. Jed, let me ask you the mentality, and I just want your psychology behind it. When we talked last time on the virtual, you mentioned who's on tapes and who got tapes out.
Yeah.
The purpose of having a recorded freak off.
Yeah.
What does that do for the male? What does that do for the female? Like, some females are cool with it. What is the thought behind that as far as, let's record this session and either rewatch, keep it for sale? Is it evidence? Is it just, like, what is the mentality behind having
if you can
the
own
visual memory of
their vulnerability? If you can own that, you have the ability to control and manipulate that person. See, guys start off by saying, ooh, you man, I don't want to watch, I just want to watch us. See, that's the line.
That's the line.
Wouldn't you rather me be watching us than watching a bunch of other? See, the finesse that fluff. You so do you really want me watching anybody else but you? I could look at you all day. Vanity. See, make her feel special. Make her feel like she's the only, ooh, the object. Meanwhile, this is sitting here thinking, so her daddy works at Sony and I need such and such's contract ended.
Does it also work this way for men?
Absolutely. And it's worse for the men. Women are used to being the victims of not men. No man walks in thinking that another man is looking at him like a lollipop. Not a straight man. You are only hip to the you hip to. You know what I mean? Which is why you hear so many people say they went to Diddy parties and they felt like something was off and decided to leave, or they got invited to another room and they decided to go because they felt like it wasn't right, or whatever the case may be. These is literally walking in there not thinking.
This silence has cost countless victims their chance to be heard sooner. When powerful figures control the narrative, it takes incredible courage for anyone to step forward. DaBaby's remarks may have been brief, but they challenged the industry to acknowledge uncomfortable truths. The fact that he was willing to even hint at a list means cracks are forming in the wall of silence, a wall that has shielded powerful people for far too long.
The attorney on Diddy's side is corrupt. You know that, right? Who's going to defend someone that they know damn well is a killer? A traitor. Who's going to defend someone like that? Would you? After you know what's been done? After you know.
That's a money issue.
That's a money issue, right?
You don't care what happened to the kids. You don't care about your integrity.
That's not. Ah! I'm trying to. I'm trying, but for whatever reason, it's not. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me right now. I can just feel the evil. I can feel the good, but I can just feel a problem just stirring. I'm trying. What is happening right now, I don't know. I really don't. So, I was ready. And then I jumped on here and I'm like, yeah, I'm back. I don't know what's wrong with my. I was a party favor.
What does that mean?
I was a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
So you're telling me they set children?
I set children on a table.
Like when you go to a birthday party and they have gift bags for everybody that comes that have candy and toys in them,
Yep.
And they set them on the table. So you're telling me at the freak-off parties,
Mm-hmm.
they put children on the table instead of gift bags,
Mm-hmm.
and then people can do what?
Take you off the table and have with you, even though it's against the rules to do certain things like their full house. Sometimes that's against the rules. Like for me, that was against the rules, but that didn't matter. That did not matter.
As Diddy awaits sentencing, the question of his legacy hangs heavy. For years, he was celebrated as a mogul, a man who shaped the sound of hip-hop and built an empire. But now, every accomplishment is clouded by the accusations and the conviction. His partnerships, his businesses, and even his public image are collapsing under the weight of this scandal. The celebrities once eager to be photographed with him are now keeping their distance. And DaBaby's list only cements the idea that being linked to Diddy is no longer a badge of prestige, but a liability. For future generations, the story of Diddy will no longer be just about music or wealth. It will be about power, corruption, and the consequences of unchecked behavior.
Sean Diddy Combs remains in a federal jail in Brooklyn after a judge refused to release him ahead of sentencing.
Yesterday, a jury handed down a mixed verdict in his crimes trial, convicting him on 2 related charges, but he was acquitted of the most serious charges.
So now he is waiting on a sentencing hearing. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles has spent weeks covering this case in federal court. She's now in the newsroom. Darla, what happens next for Combs?
Well, lawyers for Sean Combs are calling the verdict a victory, even though their client, as you said, is still behind bars today. The defense team shifting its focus to fighting for his release.
The fall of Diddy also serves as a cautionary tale. No matter how successful or protected a figure may seem, the truth has a way of surfacing eventually. His once celebrated empire is now being studied as an example of how power can be when accountability is absent. And for those still connected to him, the damage may not stop with Diddy's name, as public opinion begins to scrutinize anyone who stood too close for too long. DaBaby's decision to drop a list of celebrities tied to Diddy's parties has opened another chapter in this already explosive story. Whether meant as a warning or a statement, it forces us to think about who knew what and why silence lasted so long. As more details emerge, the world is left asking one question: how deep does this go? And who else will be exposed before it's all over? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.